Hey, I'm Hunt, and this is Hunt on LSU, your channel for LSU Fighting Tiger football talk. Enjoy the video. We want you to leave a comment below, hit that like button, and subscribe right below the video. Unfortunately, we start today with some very disappointing news from LSU football. Javien Toviano, who's entering his second year in the program as a cornerback, was arrested over the weekend. He turned himself in to authorities on Sunday on charges of video voyeurism. Toviano admitted to a hidden camera in his room that was used to film a woman without her consent. She found these videos on his iPad, and it's just a messy, messy situation. And, you know, obviously you let the legal system run its course, but I feel comfortable based on what we've got in front of us here from reporting, understanding he turned himself in, he admitted to it, the videos were found, all of these things are said to have occurred over the last 24 hours. I feel comfortable saying that this is a young person who made a very, very bad decision, a very immature decision, and deserves to be punished for that. We'll talk about this from a legal perspective very briefly here. The legal system will run its course. We'll talk about this from a football perspective and from LSU's football team. They've suspended him from all team activities. Any NIL discussion that he would be having is going to be cut off at this point because that's part of the code of conduct here in most places, and LSU certainly falls under that umbrella. And he's going to have to deal with that. And if you're LSU from a football perspective, my suggestion is you kind of move on with the understanding that he's not going to be with you for a very long time. Maybe the legal system moves quickly. Maybe there's a resolution that you're comfortable with, and you determine what the outcome is at that point from a football perspective. But to me, as I'm analyzing LSU, about to report to camp here in a week and a half, I'm thinking they're doing so without Javien Toviano in the mix. And I think that's fair to do. He's got things that he's got to worry about far off the football field before he gets back and puts a helmet on. So I think we'll start to talk about this from a football perspective because that's where this show has its roots. And Javien Toviano last year, for a bad defense, played all 13 games. He made 3 starts. Most of those were at the end of the season when they kind of tossed he and Ashton Stamps to the Wolves and said, hey, freshman, go get him. Kind of started after the Alabama game after the bye week. He made 37 tackles last year, had 1 pass breakup, but I think was thought to be very much in the mix on this defense entering 2024. You look at LSU at cornerback, and you've got Zy Alexander, you've got P.J. Woodland, you've got J.K. Johnson, Jair Brown, Michael Turner, Javien Toviano, Bernard Causey, Wallace Foster. Like, that's kind of what you're looking at from a corner perspective. I just rattled off 6, 8 names there at corner. And then you look at safety, you've got Burns and Ryan, you've got Jordan Gilbert back, Juwan Johnson, Jordan Allen, Deshaun Spears, Joel Rogers, Kylan Jackson, Austin Osbury. Like, as we've talked about, numbers are not really the issue with LSU's defense. It's performance. Like, they have a lot of guys who can play defensive end and defensive tackle. You look at defensive end, Jacobian Guillory, Gio Pius, Jalen Lee, Paris Shand, Sean Washington, JVR Suggs, Ahmad Broad, Dominic McKinley, Demarion Johnson. That's all just defensive tackle. Defensive end, you got Savion Jones and Braden Swinson and Deshaun Womack, Gabe Relaford, CJ Jackson, Dylan Carpenter. Again, like, numbers aplenty. And you've got that at corner and safety. I just routed off 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 17 guys who you could theoretically play in the secondary. That's not like critically short on numbers. It's just a matter of, okay, who can actually do this? Who can go out there and play man-to-man? Who can go out there and be in the right place in the zone? Who can cover, make plays on the ball, tackle? All those types of things. And I think Javien Toviano, as of 24 hours ago, was right in the mix for that. In my opinion, I wouldn't necessarily call it an expert opinion, but an educated opinion, I would suggest that Javien Toviano probably, with his skill set, physicality, maybe limited speed, straight line speed, might be a candidate to plug right behind Major Burns in that star role that Major Burns has said to play this year. A lot more along the line of scrimmage, use your physicality, get in the backfield on running backs, maybe cover a little bit in the flat, but not necessarily running with elite level wide receivers from Ole Miss, Alabama, or Oklahoma. I think more realistically, that fits him. And so you take that out, and I honestly think you're probably taking a reserve out of the lineup. In my opinion today, and this could easily change by 2 weeks from Tuesday when we've seen him out there at practice a little bit. But I think that Zy Alexander, P.J. Woodland are two guys that we've heard a ton about at corner. I think it's reasonable to suggest that Jair Brown and J.K. Johnson have a reasonable shot at corner to go out there and help. Ashton Stamps absolutely in that mix. I've listed probably 5 guys who I would play in front of Javien Toviano just at corner. And then at the safety spot, Major Burns, Sage Ryan, Jordan Gilbert, to me for sure in front of Javien Toviano. But I think he would be next up in both of those spots. Like, I'm not ready to put Kylan Jackson and Jawan Johnson, as good an athletes as they are, in front of Javien Toviano, who's played more than them. So you're probably losing your 6th DB here, which is not on its face a huge problem for any college football team entering a season. I'm just in a position when I analyze LSU's team and specifically the defense where I'm going, I'll take anybody who might have a chance to be good. Anybody that might have a chance to play at a high level, I will take on the practice field starting next Thursday. Period. So Toviano's a guy who was a 4-star prospect out of Texas, who was highly thought of, who was a battle for LSU to get, and a guy that they leaned on late in the season last year to try to help him when it didn't seem like anybody else could. I don't mean this as I've given up on him as a guy who could help LSU as far as his football acumen goes. I don't. I think he could be a really nice college player. But I also, when I survey this situation in its entirety, look at it and go, I don't think that guy's playing for a while. That is a big, big mess up. This is not, running a red light or going 86 and a 50. Like, you've, against someone's will, filmed them and been caught red-handed doing it. Like, there's another person involved here. There was harm done. Like, this needs to play itself out from a legal perspective before anybody on a football field does anything with it. And so LSU's done the right thing, in my opinion. You suspend him from team activities, move him off to the side, and you allow the legal system to do what it's going to do. Once that comes to a resolution, you look at it and go, okay, well, we'll react to that. But Javien Toviano, just very, very, very poor decision-making to get himself into this situation. And certainly you hope that the victim of this incident has a resolution that she's comfortable with. Hopefully that video's never seen the light of day. Hopefully it's disposed of, and certainly nothing comes of it. But I don't have those details at this point, so I couldn't speculate any further than that, other than to hope that nothing comes of the situation there with Javien Toviano and the victim of this incident. Thanks for watching Hunt on LSU. Before you get out of here, do us a couple of favors. Hit that like button, leave your comments below, and subscribe to the channel for all your Fighting Tiger football talk. See you next time.